What issues? Politico reported yesterday that the Clinton campaign is considering a staff shakeup after the New Hampshire primary. Citing a half dozen people with direct knowledge of the situation, the site writes, quote, Hillary and Bill Clinton are so dissatisfied with their campaign's messaging and digital operations, they are considering a staffing strategy changes after what's expected to be a loss in Tuesday's primary in New Hampshire. Yesterday, Clinton responded to that report in an interview on MSNBC.
Somebody showed that to me. I have no idea what they're talking about or who they're talking to. We're going to take stock, but it's going to be the campaign that I've got. I'm very confident in the people that I have. I'm very committed to them. They're committed to doing the best we can. We're going to take stock. What works, what doesn't work. We're moving into a different phase of the campaign. We're moving into a more diverse electorate, moving into different geographic areas. So, of course, it would be malpractice not to say, okay, what worked? What can we do better? What do we have to do new and different that we have to pull out?
John Hellman, any clue what's going on here?
Well, this is just a classic Clinton scenario. First of all, everyone who went to work for this campaign always assumed that at some point this would happen, that there would be, because this is what happens with the Clintons. There's always some point where you have a crisis in the campaign and there's discussions of shakeups. It's still really bad for morale, though, to be having this conversation on the eve of the New Hampshire primary. Is it true? Hillary Clinton says, I'm going to go forward with the team I have at the same time as people are saying there's going to be a shakeup. Both of those things are possible because the way the Clintons do this is when they have a shakeup, they don't fire people. They just layer. They bring in people from their past,
from downtown Manchester,
and put new people on top of the old people.
At a polling place.
This happened 8 years ago after New Hampshire. There was a very similar thing. I think it's the case that the core truth, though, is that she and her husband are exceptionally frustrated with the way this campaign has gone.
So again, to repeat what Mika is saying, we are taking live shots from Manchester. This is Hillary Clinton. Greeting a group of supporters on the morning of the New Hampshire primary, hoping that in 2016 voters will go out and shock the polls and the pundits the same way she did 8 years ago. Mike Barnicle.
Well, off of what John was just indicating, speaking with someone in the Clinton campaign last evening, the level of frustration among former President Clinton is extraordinarily high, and the two of them have been together here for more than a few days together, which has added to the joint frustration. So, yeah, there probably will be some change in direction. There'll be some change, I think, distinctly in the way they are, for lack of a better phrase, marketing her.
I do want to quote, though, the tweet of the day yesterday from David Axelrod when these reports came out about changing the campaign. And Axelrod tweeted, when the exact same problems crop up in separate campaigns, referring to 08 and 16, with different staff, at what point do the principals say, quote, hey, maybe it's us?
Wow. And, the Clintons, too, are I was talking to some sources in the Super Tuesday coming up states. They're already holding sessions with their donors and surrogates and trying to talk about just how they're going to damage Bernie Sanders. One person put it to me as trying to knock the white knight off his horse.
Wow.
That's why we're hearing all this stuff.
That's going to be a problem.
The problem right now in Hillary Clinton's campaign, and it must have been the problem in 2008, is there is nobody that can go up to her and tell her exactly like it is. We've heard it from everybody around her. We've heard it for decades. They tell her what they think she wants to hear, and that's why when she's confronted with very basic facts, like you got paid a lot of money from banks, she acts shocked and she calls it a smear. She always appears shocked on the debate stage and ill-prepared for the most basic swing that's coming at her. That's because she doesn't have anybody around her that can speak truth to power.
John,
and that's been an ongoing problem.
John, you said a minute ago that people inside the campaign always knew that when a crisis came, this would happen. What is, for people at home, the crisis exactly right now? She never, I don't think, expected to win here. So if she keeps it close,
I think that's...
she's got money and she moves forward. What is the crisis?
I don't think that's right. I think there's, again, Bernie Sanders correctly points out that when he got in this race, Hillary Clinton was ahead by 40 points.
Right, but within the last couple months,
but I think there's again the reality of the tie in Iowa, and now maybe getting beaten by double digits here. I think many people in the campaign assumed she would win more decisively in Iowa and that she might conceivably win here. It's just the reality of it now that they're going to head out of New Hampshire, the state that the Clintons are so invested in, has been so good to them for so long, to leave this state getting beaten badly potentially by Bernie Sanders. It's just the reality of it is very, very hard.
I'll just close by saying, and we'll get to the tease, but I think that it's a mistake to attack Bernie Sanders just as much as it was a mistake on the Republicans' part to attack Barack Obama when he came on the national stage. It's just a bad dynamic. They're missing the boat on this. They have to look at the optics.
Well, there's also here, it's almost an undefinable sense when you're watching the Clinton campaign, especially the candidate, former Senator Clinton. She's had one foot out the door heading south for about 48 hours. You just get that sense that let's get to a larger state.
Casey Hunt, thank you for